Good morning. It's great to see everybody again. It's great to be back in Indianapolis to get as much information on this 2020 draft class as we can. New agenda, new schedules, and we're all adjusting to that. But this isn't new, so let's have at it.
Hey, Dave, is there a scenario with number 4 you can see yourself?
We're going to take the best player, okay? We're going to evaluate it, take the best player. That's what it is. I've said unrestricted free agency, put you in a position, hopefully, if it works out for you, put you in a position to take the best player. That's what we'll do. I tell you, it's been terrific. It really has. Joe was very thoughtful and intentional about the staff that he hired, and it's a real interesting group of people. I mean, he's got 4 former head coaches on that staff, a number of former coordinators, so there's a lot of experience there, and so that's been fun. They're good people, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it's all going to come together and work.
Dave, you've never traded back in the first round before. Is that something you're hoping?
Well, absolutely, we're open for business. Again, whatever we do is going to be in our best interest. Trading back is fraught. It has danger. What happens if you trade back 8 spots? We're at 4. Let's say we trade back to 8. There's only 4 players that we like. What if they're all gone? Now what are you going to do? You're going to trade back again? You can trade yourself back out of good players. But to answer your question, we're open. I'm sorry? No, Tua? No, I haven't. I have not personally met with him yet, no.
Hey, a lot has been made about your opinion with the analytics of football. How has that changed over the last year?
All right. One thing you have taught me very well is there are no throwaway lines anymore. That was a throwaway line, and you guys know it, but every opportunity you get, you stick it. We use it. We're involved in it. We're building it. We're building a department. It's just part of the tool. It's part of the tool set. So, yeah, we do it. I just don't go out discussing it. You know what I'm saying?
Dave, what are your trading?
Right.
Do you have a sense where in this draft the line is with you guys? Are there 2, 4 needs?
There's a lot. There's some really good players. We just had our February meetings, and that's really the introductory. I mean, we had meetings in December, and February is the first real bite we take out of it. Okay, and there are a lot of high-graded players. I'll tell you that, right up front, Ralph. I'm excited to see where the board ends up, and it's a pretty strong draft. It really is.
Dave, in terms of progress for Daniel in year 2, how high are your expectations? What are
You can't put expectations on it. Why should you? Why should you put the pressure on the kid? It's not fair. Okay, it's no different than the expectations your bosses have for you guys. Second year in writing reports, they expect better reports. 10 years in, they expect real good reports. So it's just, I'm not putting expectations on anybody. I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to read the book, Bill Walsh's book, The Winning Edge. But anyhow, in that book, at that time, because we've discussed this, he had a 2-year rule. So we're talking in the 80s. We're talking in the 80s when players were coming out and they were 23, 24 years old. They'd been in school 4 to 5 years. We were drafting guys and just having to put a little polish on it, where we've talked about and discussed, fundamentals are sometimes a thing of the past, and the college game is not our game. So he had a 2-year rule, and that meant everybody in the building. So if you're a scout, a coach, an executive assistant, a player, you had 2 years to prove your worth. Now, with what's going on, it's 3 years. Because there's again, I've said it to a million times, we're dealing with 21-year-old kids, and they're young.
Dave, you're second franchise quarterback.
You obviously drafted really high last year. You have a new scheme with new coaches. Where do you stand on it? Has anything changed?
Nothing's going to change. Really and truly, I'll address that question. Offense is offense, right? Okay, somebody snaps it, somebody catches it, and then you're either run it or throw it. Okay, defense, there's a little more nuances in different systems, Jordan. So because we had moved to a base 5 on the line system, it's really not going to change a bunch on defense. But no, we'll be fine. I view Daniel Jones as going into his second year and learning how to be an NFL quarterback. I'm sorry?
Dave, if you don't have a deal in place with Leonard by the franchise and transition tag deadline, will you tag him?
We're discussing that, and I don't discuss negotiations anyhow, Ryan, but that's it. That's discussion.
Do you plan a maneuver going into the draft, into this whole process of free agency as of Daniel just started?
Jordan, let me ask you this question. Who was the guy who took the last snap in the last game? Okay, so I've answered the question. Sure, Patty.
If you look at your defense last year, a lot of young guys, how important is it to supplement somebody you've got to remain
It's a legitimate question, Patty. It's we've talked about it. It's again, part of the problem we have as we build this thing is we don't have veterans in the building that are New York Football Giants. That's part of the problem. So we've got to be if we're going to do something like that, we've got to be extremely selective and bring in the right people. I'm sorry? Right. I've done a little bit of both over the 7 years I've been doing this, Paul. I've done a little bit of both. I've brought veteran players in just to play, and I've had a couple of veteran players that I knew real good things about that could be mentors. So you do the background work and you figure that piece out. We've called we've had guys cap guys call veteran players and they had to call the agents, and the agents have said, oh, by the way, my guy isn't coming in to babysit anybody. Okay, that's fair. That's fine. I'm not mad. It's just the way it works out. It's just the way it works out. I can't.
Sorry. Do you see tackle, offensive tackle, as something you have to address early in this draft? You've only drafted one, a 7th rounder in your first.
Exactly right. No, it's a position that we got to look at. Absolutely right.
Going back a year, Dave, you spent a good amount of time yourself personally scouting Justin Herbert in Oregon. You're seemingly very much committed to the quarterback you just drafted a year ago. So if that's the case, can you share your assessment of Justin Herbert?
Well, very honestly, I saw him play one game. I went to the Utah game, I believe it was. I went to the Utah game, and he played, and then he didn't come out, so I just kind of dropped it. All right, so I've obviously got to pick it back up. It's a pretty darn good group. It really is. A lot of fast fellas, and there's some interesting guys.
Dave, you talked the end of last season, and you put resources into
It's when you say resources, you're talking dollars.
dollars or picks.
It's listen. I told you guys the day I walked in the door. Offense scores points, defense wins championships. That's the way it is. In the 6, from what I'm told, in the 6 Super Bowl games where it was the number 1 offense against the number 1 defense, the number 1 defense is 5-1, and I was on the wrong end of that stick in 15. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, you can't expect your defense, to hold someone to 3 points every week. You can't do that. And you can't expect your offense to score 50 every week. So you've got to play complementary football. You can always get better.
So philosophically,
I'm sorry? Do I expect him to be left tackle? Joe said everybody's got a blank slate and everybody's competing.
What do you believe, speeds up the quarterback's development? Playmakers in certain positions, offensive line help.
Offensive line, Dan. Matt. The bottom line is, last time I checked, it's really difficult to complete a pass when you're on your back. I've done that study. So the bottom line is, it's really the front. You need to give the young kids, because our game is so different from what he's been doing since he was in high school, because high school is shoot 'em up, bang, bang football. All right, so since he's been there, you've got to give him a front that allows him to learn how to play the game.
So what do you look for in offensive line, scouting guys?
Well, with the inside guys, you'd like to have power. And one of the things you have to do is, you've got to match up in your division. All right? So, all three teams in our division, the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Redskins, all have inside power, okay, on their defensive line. So you got to match power with power, because if the inside leakage occurs too quickly, now he's running around for his life. What's that? Well, you know what Joe said. He's got a clean slate, and everybody's competing.
At the end of the day, I know you want smart football players, good football players.
Right.
But coaches tend to have preferences regarding sizes and positional sense. How much different is what Joe and his staff is looking for versus what you have?
It really is not a lot different, Patty. There's a couple of defensive positions that they're looking for a couple of different things. And, but really, at the end of the day, the specificity of the players, there isn't that much of a difference. Best player. You want to use free agency, unrestricted free agency, to put yourself in a position so you can draft the best player. More often than not, when you draft for need, you're going to make a mistake.
Big picture-wise, do you feel like you have to find one stud pass rusher, or that you get a number of pass rush team-wise?
You okay, Ralph? Listen, who doesn't want a great pass rusher? Anybody here, So the bottom line is, it's who's available, and how you can get the best, how you can make it the best situation work. There is some, this is a throwing league. Everybody tells me that. You guys are very happy to tell me that, okay, that it's a throwing league. Well, at the end of the day, you got to have a strong back end. And oh, by the way, if you have a strong back end, it helps your front end. The front end helps your back end. So it's complementary football is what it is. Listen, you guys know I've been involved with teams that had great pass rushers. My first great pass rusher was Bruce Smith. I think he did pretty good. So I know what it looks like. But sometimes, you do what you can. You do what you think is right. Pat, go ahead. Go ahead, kid. Easy.
Daniel Jones, in the fairly recent past, you have said he's our quarterback. Sounds like today you're more in line with the way Joe was talking about him. Is that in order to have a united
Pat, let it go. Okay? Just let it go.
Dave, Darius Slayton looks like a potential stud. What do you guys think you have in there?
Well, listen, anytime, he really has done really a fine job. We in the fifth round, we took a speed kid, and obviously he had a terrific rookie year. And all things being equal, they all should get better.
Hey Giants fans, Saquon Barkley here. You want to see more videos? Subscribe below.